All right, we got the Shuttle wrap up. After the show, we take somebody to the airport, only we ain't going to the airport today. Jorge and I are going for brunch. I want to thank Fierce Supply. Go to fiercesupply.com. Please check them out. They gave me some shirts to wear, but I spilled some shit all over one last night, and the other one smells bad. So I'm going with Salil G. Kundo. How are you, man?
Good, man. Good.
I know you didn't get the result you were after last night, but you fought one of the great fighters in the world, and you went out there. And what was it like?
He's tricky and strong. The strongest guy that I've ever been in the mat with. Physically, especially in certain positions. In certain positions, I was much stronger than him. And a lot of the wrestling ones, when he'd be on a single leg, I could out-muscle him, I could out-technique him. But off his back, the strength that he was generating from his half guard was impressive. It was like, it doesn't look like it on tape, but I was straining with everything I would have every time he was on bottom for me to try to get away from him. It was something impressive. It was usually somebody on bottom, you could just shake him off, but it's not his strength alone, it's the technique that he has. It's he truly is a world-class competitor off his back. And in a lot of the positions that he's good at, like taking the back, and once he gets there, how to hold the position, he would just take my hip out of play a lot of times, and my hip wasn't even able to come into play the way he holds the back, so my hat's off to him in the grappling department,
When you get to go in there, you're one of the great fighters in the world, and you share time with another great fighter like that. You come out, win or lose, if they bring that with real admiration for the other man.
Oh, always, somebody that comes to compete, a lot of people are like, man, he just came to hug you. That doesn't matter. That's what that guy did, and I respect it, and I'm a big believer of the natural course of a fight. Like, I don't believe if somebody takes me down that the referees should ever stand us up, no matter how boring it gets or it doesn't, because that's what would happen in a real fight, you would get taken down and you'd get held down, Also, I believe that I wish there was like more knees in certain places allowed. So there isn't that advantage, for the grappler or anything. It should be just like a fight, but it was great to get the experience. Obviously I wanted to win, but I learned a lot in this fight, I learned things that I could actually use for myself, because if he was able to do it to me, I know I could do it to anybody in the world,
Yeah, well, I don't know if you heard, but he was really talking about how good you were at the press conference and after, and about your jiu-jitsu. He's like, nobody, he talked about getting to the position, but that you could fight all of his stuff, and you had really studied him, and you really understood the game, and he had the same level of admiration. And there is something, it bothers me sometimes, I talk about it, that there's something so special happens when people dedicate their entire life to something, and then we have a moment in time where these two great athletes fight, and sometimes we don't appreciate how we should relish that moment as fans, as an audience.
Yeah, I know a lot of people, they don't want to see like the groundwork and stuff, but that's what the guy does. You can't ask him to start throwing 1-2s and high kicks. I don't think he landed one punch or threw many punches on the feet.
None.
And it's crazy, because even when I've had him sprawled out, he was just still able to create action for himself. So it's something that I think, me personally, I could beat him on a rematch. I would have to tweak this, tweak that, and just be on that night, I made a big mistake in the first round that costed me a lot of endurance with the forearms. Like, me fighting off the first chokes in the first round, man, my forearms were pumping after that. I was grabbing onto his hands with everything I had.
He was committed to trying to get it.
Yeah, he was committed, and I just had to. But see, that moment when I just gave up my back, that time to try to get away like I usually do, I could have just maybe been on my back, engaged in the jiu-jitsu a little bit more, not so
that was
explosive.
A choice.
Yeah, that was a choice I made, because I've gotten away with everybody in the world, getting away from everybody like that, giving them my back, fighting the hands, and wrestling out of there. But Maia is special in that position.
Yeah. Out in the open field, obviously he was just not able to handle you. But there is something you have to admire about trying to not engage in something and take it out of the picture entirely. But 5 rounds, too, would be an entirely different fight. You're going into round 4 now. He's way more fatigued. You're feeling good at this point. All of these things change every scenario.
Yeah, a lot of things will change in a 5-round fight, I just have to be on, not make no mistakes, be extra focused, not to give him my back, especially with hooks. Could have had my elbows tucked in a little bit more. I'm just upset. This has never happened in my career that I've been written for that long, and I think he rid me like maybe 8-9 minutes of the fight, and that bothers me deeply. So I'll be right. I thank God I got no injuries, so I'll be in the gym Monday, getting stronger, getting faster, doing something,
Yeah, and you want to fight within the next couple of months again?
I want to fight within. I'm ready to go. Yeah, for me, in my behalf, it was more like a grappling match that I got into. He was in the fight, so I know.
That's right.
I think he asked for a little bit of time off for him not to fight in the July card. So I would love to fight the highest ranking contender I could get my hands on come July 29th, maybe even the July 7th card, because I have no injuries, nothing, you know.
What is it? We've talked a little bit before, and I've analyzed your work. Why are you so driven to compete? Like, why are you so driven to compete in combat?
I love it. It's what I like to do. You could tell a lot of guys fight for some different reasons. Some clearly for the money, some for the exposure that you can get off of it. Not too many guys actually enjoy being there. And though things didn't go my way, I was having fun yesterday.
Yeah.
Every time that I was coming out and the bell was coming out, I was so eager to go out there and compete. And it's what I like to do at the end of the day. Some people play basketball, football, video games. I like to actually fight and compete. It's fun.
And you like to train and get better and grow as an athlete and an artist. Do you see yourself as an artist?
Yeah, for like a violent artist,
Yeah.
It's work,
Yeah, but you'd do it for free if you could do it and not get in trouble, right?
Oh, of course. If I could, if I wasn't making a living off of it, I'd be competing in it in some form of way,
Yeah, for sure. You hungry?
Starving, man.
Yeah. What do you like? What should we eat? This place I think has a bunch of stuff, and I'll show you a picture. They got like some drink with like food sticking out of it and stuff. Yeah, it's a wild place. So, but man, thanks for coming out. I want people to share this video, but also watch for our brunch, which we're gonna do now. It'll probably, depending on when you're watching this, it'll be up in a couple hours. You're hungry. We're gonna eat.
Starving.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel a hunger when you fight? When you go in, is there any similarity to not having eaten for a while to the feeling when you want to go in and suddenly fight?
Well, me personally, I'm always hungry right before a fight because I don't like nothing in my system.
Yeah.
So I'll have a big breakfast that day and then maybe little snacks till the fight. I don't want my body to be processing food. So I'm actually hungry when I get in the cage.
Yeah. And then what do you eat after?
Yesterday the things didn't get set up the way we wanted it, so we kind of like it was improvised and it wasn't good. We ordered cheese pizza and it didn't have no sauce. We ordered a Hawaiian pizza, didn't have no ham. It was bad for the night food. Man,
it's a crazy thing. Watching all of your fights and studying what you've done, and I can see you change. I can see you change as an athlete, and even somehow in the way you express your ideas in the cage. Can you chart yourself changing like that?
Oh yeah, like in just the footwork alone from like this fight to the last fight where I pressured Cowboy to with Maia, trying to be more on my toes, moving laterally to not give him a set target, not to make it so easy to get to my legs.
He's good at trying to bird dog guys down. He's good at that.
Yeah, he's good at it, and I know he wasn't even gonna throw a strike, and it's a fight, and you're thinking he's gonna throw a strike at one point, but he just does it, and he's still able to somehow get himself to the leg, throw himself to half guard, and then make it his world, because even if you're mounted on top of him, that's his world. He doesn't care at all, Yeah. My hat's off to him for that.
When so BJ Penn, when he never threw a kick in his life, and he wrote books about fighting. He said, never kick, and then against Diego Sanchez, kicked him in the head. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you keep that secret. So with Demian, if people eventually think he's not even throwing a strike, that's when he'd throw that one.
Yeah, and with the core strength that he has, I would think he'd be able to translate, maybe not to like a crisp shot with a lot of technique or speed, but definitely with power, because he's such a strong guy that if he can get his hips behind it, he could hurt people, and definitely he'd throw anybody off,
When you go into the gym, so who are some of the guys you train with? You train with Dustin, spar with? And
for this camp, we did a lot of work, me and Dustin, for this camp in particular. We always work year round, but for this one, I helped him with the Eddie. He helped me for the Maia fight,
And when and you've got a number of guys like that, and you have in your career and your lifetime. When you guys are sparring a lot, what does that do to the relationship of high-level fighters? Like, sometimes you're hurting each other. Sometimes you feel like you got one, you got to get him back tomorrow. What does that do to the relationship of sort of teammates and athletes and men?
Oh, it sharpens it, I mean, especially if you're a competitor. There's a lot of... At ATT, we get we get some good stuff. Like, we get a guy that's wrestled from 7 years of age, so he was 22 in college that he stopped, and the guy's just a beast in the wrestling department. So he can come in there in wrestling practice and just rape a lot of guys, you know. So you get your tools sharpened up, and that's my favorite way of sharpening my tools, is just go with a guy that's the best in that area, you know. I'm not gonna do Muay Thai with a wrestler.
Right.
I'm not gonna do Jiu-Jitsu with a boxer.
Because you're gonna submit the boxer and kick the wrestler, and
So the Mundial champions that come in from Brazil out of the gym, which are plenty of them, I go with them, you know. Hey, what's up? I heard you're real good. Let's roll, you know. And it's not to challenge them or like who's tougher. Yeah. It's just to get my game better, you know.
Yeah.
And then in the process, I show them, if guys always know that if man, I want to know how you do this, I'm quick to show my techniques and stuff, you know.
Yeah, I mean, they got to train them 10,000 times anyway. Showing them only gives them the doorway. They got to do the work.
Yeah, just what you said.
Well, I said it to you last night, but you should be proud of that fight. Are you proud of all of these fights? Are you always, knowing that you went in and fought one of the greats in the world, are you proud of it?
No, I feel like I did small mistakes. Yesterday was a game of inches, you know, and there was times I should have disengaged when I engaged him after out wrestling him, and there was times I should have engaged instead of disengaging, you know, and it was just like little things, you know. And even when we were on the feet, everybody was telling me I was doing well, but there's certain things I didn't do on my feet that we had trained for that could have got me closer to stopping him, or at least inflicting more damage. I felt like I sold myself short, you know. I don't want to take nothing away from Maia, but I felt like there was things I should have done that I didn't do yesterday. People
don't realize when they're watching the fight how the performance itself, you getting the best out of you in that moment, that in and of itself is a lifetime of training.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You want to get some food?
Hell yeah.
All right. Watch out for Brunch with Jorge coming up. Thanks for Supply.com.